stand on whatever you say. If somebody truly believes in you, will hold you to that.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So put actions behind your words. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Justin and Know podcast, where we make knowledge your strongest weapon. So today we're going to talk about a couple of topics that make us better as a person if we are self-aware about it and we try to achieve it every single day. So the first topic that we're going to talk about is one of the most important ones inside someone's life. And that is accountability. Now, you want to start with it, or you want to let me?
I'll start off. So we'll find ourselves often, and when I say we, I'm talking about me first. We'll find ourselves in a place of comfort due to the lack of accountability.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is we'll exercise a habit, we'll indulge in certain habits, and we won't realize the type of effects that it'll have on the productivity of our day. You know what I'm saying? So basically, take rich people, for example. They have routines, they have tendencies, habits that they practice and they abide by every single day. Why? It's because they hold themselves accountable for making mistakes or behaving in ways that takes away from their ability to thrive in life.
Yeah. And I'll also say that while being accountable, you can't be in control, right? And being accountable allows you to not put the blame on anything else but yourself, even though you might not be at fault, but you know how to move forward because you take yourself accountable on why something happened to you, and you understand and self-assess that I should have did this to get this outcome, but I didn't do it. But you have to learn from your mistakes, and that all comes from holding yourself accountable. Do not blame anyone else for your mistakes, your mishaps, because if you're complaining, you're not progressing at all.
Now, to expand on that, what I'd like to say is, which you bring up a great point, holding yourself accountable, there's like different levels to it, you know? There's,
Of course,
sometimes you face real rough, tough complications and you might blame yourself. But you want to take it a step further and you want to hold yourself accountable for even the smallest of things. And like you said, even the things that really, really aren't your fault, but you don't want to find a way out. So let me give you an example. You are a student, whatever level, high school, college, even younger than that. And your teacher isn't necessarily pleased with the work that you presented. Now, you can see it as two things. You could see it as, oh, this teacher is, one, biased to me, or two, stubborn or hard-headed. They don't like to see things in a different light. Or, in order to make your time better with that teacher, you could find a way to cater to that. And how you're going to do that exactly? By taking accountability.
of course.
So you want to do that with life too. When life throws complications at you, you don't want to sit here and be like, oh, this person made it harder for me, or this person shouldn't have did this, or, oh, this person, I expected this person to take care of me or to deal with me in a better sense. No, don't do that. Find a way. Acknowledge that person that you're dealing with, that situation that you're dealing with, and think of a way to tackle it from a different angle. So hold yourself accountable to produce a better result. Don't expect the next person to make your life easier. Let everybody make yourself hard. You be good to yourself. Hold yourself accountable and try to make things easier for yourself and try to come out with better results for yourself.
Yeah. And I'll also say, with being accountable too, you have to not take the out. Like, you don't move forward by putting the blame on something else. Maybe sometimes when something happens to you, you got to take it as a lesson so that you're able to move forward. And the only way that you do that is by being accountable. And accountability allows you to progress, right?
Absolutely.
Now, with being accountable, right? It's like a plan. If you hold yourself accountable, you put yourself into control. So you can only control yourself. You can't control your environment. You can't control the people around you. You can only control what you do and how you tackle a situation. So if a bad instance or a bad situation happens to you, you don't make it as a detriment. You don't make that slow you down. You always say, okay, I am going through this right now. I do feel a certain way. How and what does it take for me to progress and get better? And that's all that self accountability is. And if more people were more accountable for their actions, one, they wouldn't make or do certain actions, right? And most people will be able to move forward with their life if they were just, accountable. But when you start to blame people and you start to blame things in your situation, you don't move anywhere at all. And the next kind of topic that's going to go into accountability that I'm going to talk about is accountability with women. Right.
Yeah. So, for example, I mean, obviously it's a little hard for us to touch on this subject considering we aren't women ourselves,
Of course.
but it's pretty clear cut, it's,
And this is how we see it as men. Okay.
it's,
We're going to also talk about men too, but right now the topic is going to be more towards females and how we see that they could be more self accountable for their actions and the world could, operate in a better way.
yeah. So one of my favorite words as of recent is optimal. So what we're trying to preach here is the optimal approach to assessing and analyzing your behavior, the things that you put out, and what you expect to see back. So, women, from what I deal with personally, my experiences, from experiences of people that I know, women have this tendency of wanting the luxury of committing a certain act, behaving a certain way, presenting themselves in a certain fashion, and then expecting the person on the receiving end of that behavior, of that energy, to treat them according to something that they're not treating them, like holding themselves to. They're not putting out. Let me make it a little bit more clear. So let's say two different types of women.
Okay.
Right? There's one woman, one of the women, she's a great lady, very respectful. She doesn't really look, or she's not desperate, and she doesn't really do anything that's extreme for for male attention. And she's on top of her everyday life, her health, her work ethic, all those things. She holds herself accountable,
Of course.
for the quality of life she lives. She's probably way better off than the type of girl who claims that she's so independent and self-sufficient and she doesn't need anybody, but every single day she's behaving as if she needs some type of validation, she needs some type of approval, she's seeking some type of appreciation from another human being. So the two types of women, one of them chasing something, one of them chasing another thing. The difference between them is one holds themselves accountable
And one doesn't.
one doesn't. The one who doesn't hold themselves accountable, in the long run, her results are not going to be the most optimal of results.
Yeah. So when it comes to females, and I will say this, your actions have, how do I say, your actions definitely have an outcome, right? Whether it be good or bad. And whatever you put out as your actions, you're going to be held responsible to them. Whether it not be right now, it will be in the future, right? And you said there's two type of women, right? There's one that presents themselves as, you know, this high, not even I say she thinks that she's a highly high valued person, but she holds herself to that standard that she won't show herself a certain way. She won't presentation is everything. That's how we said in the last episode. But put like this, there's a lot of content creators out there, right? And I'm gonna say this as a disclaimer. We do not have any quarrels or any how do I say any
Beef.
beef with any content creator. However you choose to make your living is whatever you choose, but understand that every decision comes with a responsibility and every decision comes with a consequence, right? So on the topic of content creators, right, or OnlyFans women or whatever you want to call it, right? You cannot, as a female, right, expect to show yourself out there and be taken seriously in the dating market and in the world in general. You know what I'm saying? Because back then, before content creating was a cool thing, you would say porn stars were classified as lower valued women or people. You know what I'm saying? To the world. And I'm not saying it just from my perspective. This is a world societal take on it, right? And there's nothing wrong with being a content creator, right? But you have to understand there's a lot that comes with it. And even when creating a family, right? You have to put in your head that if I'm willing to do this, I have to be accountable for my actions in the future and understand that when having a family, if it does ever happen, because you're going to short yourself from even having the opposite gender take you seriously in that because of what you've done in your past, right? That I'm willing to do this regardless of whatever happens, and I have to be okay with it. Now, it's one thing to say that you're going to do something, and it's the next thing to combat what you did. A lot of people nowadays, they want to do certain things and say, oh, yes, I did this, but take me as I am. No. If I don't like, if I have a certain preference, how do I say? I am justified in my preference. This is what I like, because at the end of the day, if I don't like something and I say it or I do something to benefit someone else, at the end of the day, it's going to hurt me because it's not what I truly feel and that's not what I truly accept. You know Absolutely. What I'm saying? And everybody has to be okay with their truths, right? You can't want to do this just because everybody else is doing it. You got to do it that makes sense for you, and not just with OnlyFans, but anything in life in general. If you're going to do something, you have to be okay with the consequences, because I will say this in life, and this is a business term, there is opportunity cost, right? So with doing one thing, you give up the ability to do something else. And you have to be okay with doing this one thing and giving up something else. Because if you don't now, right, you're going to regret trying to do something in the first place. And that can't be. You have to do whatever makes you happy, and you have to be okay with the consequences of whatever actions that make you happy.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but I want to emphasize this one thing that you said that I loved. I just want to expand on it a little bit. You said it's okay to be a content creator. It's okay to make a living, to have whatever source of income you choose to have. But what's not okay is to commit a crime and then not accept the consequences.
Of course.
What's not okay is to behave as an indecent person and expect to be treated like a decent person.
Of course.
It's not okay to behave like a non-wifey type lady and then expect the man that you're dealing with to treat you like a wifey. That is not okay. There's no room for that in the real world. And when I say the real world, I'm talking about
everyday life,
the nitty gritty, when it comes down to those type of things, those rough parts of life, finding a lifelong partner, finding a steady lifestyle, whether it be by yourself or with a partner,
Of course.
finding a steady place in your own life. You can't expect the person in front of you to treat you better than you're treating yourself. That is not okay. You want to sell your body, then accept that you're showing your body as an object. You can't tell me not to objectify you when you're objectifying yourself.
Of course.
And when I say me, whatever, we could use me as an example, but I'm just saying the person in front of you. You can't expect the next person to treat you like a human when you're treating yourself like an object, like a product. You're selling your body, and I'm supposed to treat it with dignity. So when you go buy something from the store, right, and you open it up, don't you just throw out the cover
Yeah.
or whatever box it came in or whatever bullshit wrap it came in?
Yeah.
So I'm going to treat you like that product. Like, okay, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to get what I need out of it, and I'm going to trash it. When
Yeah.
I'm done, I'm going to
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Or
It's-
put like this too. And I would say this is a good thing that you brought up the product situation, right? Remember, like, say if you go to a grocery store or a supermarket and all that stuff, right? Or even when you buy food, right? What happens when you see that the product has already been opened?
You just first, some people they're gonna just walk by it, and some people are gonna go complain. But either way, it's not getting used. It's not getting bought.
used. Yeah, like say if you have a candy wrapper, right, that you bought, and you see after you had opened it,
Karen's going to management.
exactly. You're gonna go to management. You're gonna complain about it. So that's in a sense of you showing yourself out there. How do you expect somebody to take you seriously? And that's why women have to be more self-accountable in their actions, not just content creators, not just OnlyFans models, whatever, just life in general. Hold yourself accountable to your actions. And before you even make the action, look at the consequences that come with that action. And if you're okay with it, by all means, do whatever makes you happy.
Do it.
But don't be not okay with the consequences because you just acted.
I want to take it a step further.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of want to relate this to snitching, even though I don't want to go too deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
But we all look down or think badly of snitchers. Why? How do we see it as society? How do we analyze it? This person signed themselves up to commit a certain crime, but they were going into it knowing they weren't going to deal with the consequence. They were going to cop out. They were going to get the next person in trouble, anything to save themselves. Women who do that to them, who objectify themselves and then expect the next person to treat them like the most precious gem in the world, are, to me, reminiscent of a snitch.
Yeah.
You can't go into it knowing that it brings you down in the eyes of somebody else, or it lowers your value as a person, and then expect the next person to raise your value or just see you as a higher value. It just doesn't. It's delusional, honestly, if you ask me.
It is. Like, you can't sit here and say that you're going to hold yourself at a high value, but you're not treating yourself as such, and you're not conducting yourself as a high value woman should be in society, and expect people to treat you like that. Like I said, we're in a very delusional time where people think it's okay to do one thing and be treated as such. That's not how the real world works. Okay, at the end of the day. And to get off of women, right?
Yeah.
Let's not go too more.
We don't want to go too crazy on y'all.
Yeah, of course. But now we're going to talk about men, right? So now the next thing with men, right? I would say all men aim to be providers in such a way later on in their life, or even for themselves right now,
Yeah.
right? I would put it like this: fast money equals fast problems, right? Slow money have slow problems, or probably even no problems at all.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to be okay with your actions, right? You can't say that I want to do criminal activities, right? And in the long run, not be okay with the consequences, right? Like, oh, I went to jail, I'm a felon now, and I can't do anything with myself. You knew that going in.
Yeah, you knew that.
So you
Don't
have
lie
to be
yourself.
don't lie to yourself. Don't lie at all. And be okay with it. I have no problem with somebody choosing to go the illegal route, knowing that the consequences that came with it and accept it, right? No
That's
problem.
respectable.
Respectable. But for somebody to come into fast money and want to do everything fast, and not even just criminals alone, it could be conducting business in, as we would say, as a haram way, right? Or conducting business in a foul way, you're gonna get foul problems, right?
Yeah.
And you can't say like, oh yeah, I expected, this, a good outcome with you treating people bad in business, bad customer service, bad business practices, immoral business practices, right? And expect you not to get these big consequences. It may be a little bit less hard, right? Well, actually, not a little bit less hard. It'll be a lot more hard, right? If you do it the right way, do it the slow way, and eventually come to, better results. But you have to pick that when you're conducting business, and you have to be okay with the slow growth, with the slow money. But if you try to do everything the fast way, do it everything the immoral way, you're gonna get those consequences.
It's like bodybuilding, just like a small little analogy. You're not gonna get the dream body you want in the shortest amount of time. And maybe the only way to do that is by doing illegal drugs, steroids and whatever other sorts of drugs there are out there. And then you also have to pay that price later.
Yeah.
Because those affect your body in an immense way, in a very, very big way. So, everything in life is, the long way is better. Take the stairs. Don't take the elevator. Don't cheat yourself. Don't cheat the person in front of you. Hold yourself accountable as a man to either do things the right way to get a good result, or if you want to do things the cheating way, the fast way, the improper way, just know that you're not going to get a clean result. You can't eat pizza at 3 a.m. and drink soda all day and be cut up.
Can't.
It's not happening.
It's not happening at all. For some people that may work out for, but we're talking about the majority of people. Yeah. When it comes to a longer lasting body and a longer lasting physical health and shape, you have to take the long route, because put like this, if you eat clean, work out, repetition for 2 to 3 years and maintain that routine, your body could be well on to your 60s and 70s, and you can have the same body. I mean, of course, you're going to have your detriments, as normal human beings will have, but for the most part, it'll be more consistent, healthy, body. But if you start taking steroids, which is the fast way, at the end of the day, when you probably might not even make it to those ages because of the drugs that you took, because you wanted to take the cheap way.
I think so we don't lose them. Some of the ladies watching this want us to go a little bit harder, so we're gonna hold the men more accountable so they can hold themselves more accountable.
Of course.
My brothers, my fellow men who are out here trying to chase a cleaner, higher quality lifestyle, hold yourself accountable when it comes to your behavior with women.
Yes.
Don't be that person who takes anything that walks and breathes, who loses focus over anything that walks and breathes, who doesn't hold the lady they're dealing with to a standard they hold themselves to. And what I mean by that is, obviously, or maybe it's not obvious yet, it will be as time goes, I don't think men and women are the same. There's a lot of people who may agree with me, may disagree with me. That's how I see it. Equal but not the same. And what I mean by that is, I'm going to hold the lady in front of me, I'm dealing with in front of me, whatever, to the same standard I hold myself to, but for different reasons.
Of course.
Like, I'm not going to hold her accountable to make the same amount of money I make, but I'm going to hold her accountable to be as loyal to me as I am to her, or as loyal to the life goals that we have set.
Of course.
And what I mean by that, to expand even more, is a lot of young men have this, I feel like, I want to say urge, but I don't even know where it comes from. So I don't want to, let's just use the word urge. They have this urge to show out so early, simply for the reason of chasing women, and they throw themselves off track. They get all types of, lost in the sauce just because they're chasing tail. And they don't hold themselves accountable for chasing that tail. And they don't realize how it's destructing them. And at the same time, the tail that they're chasing is always low quality women.
Yeah.
There's always like an alignment there. There's always, they always collide.
Yeah.
Like you don't see low quality men chasing high quality women. Like the shit doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't.
It's always a guy that doesn't have his shit figured out, that is just chasing girls that don't have their shit figured out. So if you hold yourself accountable,
you're only going to attract other high quality
women. That's what I'm trying to get at. So don't complain about you dealing with a girl who does OnlyFans or who's a trick and she tricked you. Like, that don't make no sense, bro. Just blame yourself for even wanting anything to do with that girl.
Of course.
And then even more so, blame yourself for even following through with wanting to do anything with her. Don't sit here and call her a bad person. Bro, you're just as bad. You could have looked elsewhere. You could have found a better quality woman to do those foolish things that you did for that low quality woman. Why don't you just hold yourself to a higher standard, have more self-respect for yourself?
And honestly, to be honest with that, you just have to want better for yourself. That's it. Like, you can't put yourself to this extent and think that you're going to get higher efforts or higher outcome. You have to hold yourself accountable, hold yourself to a high standard, and people are going to see you at a higher standard, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to treat you as such.
Absolutely.
But once you hold yourself down at a low value self, right? People are going to treat you low value. And also, to get into that topic, we're going to talk about how accountability, just like how we said, it comes from confidence. Confidence is a big thing in life too.
Absolutely.
Confidence would allow you to get to places in life, because if you're confident in yourself, you can achieve anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because put like this, there's sometimes that we're down in life. There's sometimes that we are not at full capacity.
A lot of times
more than not, right? If you're confident in yourself and you believe in yourself and you know yourself, right? That means you have to be self-aware of your actions and self-aware of your weaknesses and know that you need to improve at certain points in your life, right? At the end of the day, whatever you do with confidence, you may not take wins all the time, but at least you're confident in yourself to know that I can learn from these losses, hold myself accountable with my actions, and do better.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think it's important to acknowledge that confidence isn't just being confident in the things that you could do. It's also being confident in the things that you can't do as of now.
Yeah, as of now.
Meaning that you have to have that confidence as a person and be like, okay, this area of my life is subpar, is lower than I would like it to be.
Of course.
Don't lie to yourself and tell yourself you're good at everything. Have that confidence, swallow your pride a little bit. Have that confidence to tell yourself, like, okay, I know this is lacking in my life, but I'm willing to improve on it. I'm willing to take the necessary steps to make that a better aspect of my life, to make that a character trait that I am better at, that I have more of, that is more present in me.
Of course.
You have to have that confidence to know that the things that you lack, you'll be able to improve, but you have to acknowledge it and trust yourself to see something for what it is. Don't have that blind ego cockiness, but also don't be too low on yourself. You got to have that balance. And we're all trying to figure that out every single day. I don't got it figured out yet completely. I'm sure you don't got it figured out completely.
Of course not.
And I'm sure the viewers don't. And we're not talking about exceptions. Everything that we say, actually, we're not talking about exceptions. There's always that one lady who got 3 baby fathers that might not cheat on the 4th one ever again. But 98% of the time, She got 3 baby fathers. She gonna cheat on you, bro. So we're talking about majority right now. We're not talking about exceptions. So there's people who are overly confident and it might work out for them. And there's people who don't have much confidence and just some luck and things work out for them.
Yeah, but we're talking about in the middle where most people reside in life, right?
Yeah.
You can't not be confident in yourself and expect to achieve a lot. And also, I would say in confidence, you can't. It's always a balance, right? You can't be, too high of yourself, and you can't be too low on yourself. But also, I would say you would have to humble yourself. And when it comes to being humble, you know of what you're capable of, right? But you don't portray it to the world as you're capable of until you're capable, because you can say whatever you think you can accomplish, but people won't believe you until you do it.
Absolutely.
So you have to humble yourself, right? Work on your craft, get better every single day, and then let your actions speak as your words will. But more so, your actions should be at a higher standards than your words are.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all know somebody who talks a big game and ain't doing nothing with their life. And I'm sure there's somebody who talks a big game but also could back it up. But there's probably way more of the ones who talk a big game and can't back it up.
Of course.
And being confident and humble kind of go together. Like, you don't want to be so confident that if somebody is offering you some type of guidance or advice, words of encouragement, that you just brush it off and it goes through one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that confident, but you also don't want to be so down on yourself, so low on yourself that somebody tells you can't do something and then you believe that.
Yeah, you believe it. That's crazy. Like I said, you have to believe in yourself, right? At the end of the day, and I would say this about most people don't want to see you do well at all. They don't want to see you do well.
Nobody does.
Especially when they can't do it themselves. They rather be like, okay, I don't want to see you do well, so I'm going to say that you can't do better than me.
Sabotage you.
That's how it is. It's competition out here. But you, as a person that holds yourself accountable and is in confidence in yourself, know that those words don't mean anything. You show them through actions that, yes, you say that I might not be able to do this, but I'm going to try my best effort and able to do things that I want to do in my life.
This is kind of a side note, but I'm going to get a little bit personal, not too big of a deal. But I'll give you a perfect example. I recently been eating really good. I got a belly, but I'm totally fine with it. I'm not complaining.
Of course.
So I made the decision to eat good, not care about working out. The consequence was me getting a belly. I am perfectly fine with it. No complaints. So don't be that person who eats really good or bad, unhealthily, whatever, however, eats a lot and complains about having a belly. And then also don't be that person who works out once a week and expects to have a cut up body. You got to have that balance of confidence in your rights and your wrongs. You got to have that balance of confident enough to know that you're going to do better, that you could do better, but confident enough to know that you haven't done enough.
Yeah. And and in confidence and you want to put that into terms of self-awareness, you have to be aware in life of the people around you, and you have to be aware of yourself and know yourself completely. Because when you don't know yourself, right, you tend to fall into things that is going to harm you in the future or even in the present, right? That not being self-aware of what your tendencies are, you can't improve at all. Because put it like this, how do you expect to improve if you don't even know what to work on, right?
I don't know. Tell me.
You can't do it at all. Because if there's nothing that you think that you can improve on, you're going to stay in the same spot that you are right now. Different results come with different actions. And you have to know what to improve on to have a different outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's confidence, accountability, hold yourself accountable for the things you lack in, have enough confidence to know that you can fix them, that you can improve on them. And listen, all these things are a lot easier said than done.
It's an everyday
but
struggle,
it's
bro.
an everyday struggle. Exactly.
really
You
is.
gotta wake up. You gotta find what works for you to remind yourself of these things. Not everybody could do it the same exact way. Not everybody will do it the same exact way. What worked for Phil is not gonna work for Ivan, and what worked for Ivan ain't gonna work for me. But something we're all gonna have in common, if we're progressing towards what we want to attain, you'll find that what we're all going to have in common is we find ways to remind ourselves of these little knacks in life. Remind ourselves how to hold ourselves accountable. He might do it differently, but he still holds himself accountable. I might do it differently. I still hold myself accountable. He might have a confidence in different sense in his looks. I might have confidence in my brains. He might have confidence in both. So we're gonna do it a little differently,
Of course.
but essentially we're looking and reaching the same place. We're looking for the same things. We're reaching the same place. We're finding that inner validation, I'd like to call it. Like,
Yes.
I don't need him to tell me. I don't need my father to tell me. But I also won't lie to myself and do some dumb shit and engage in meaningless activity and then expect some type of magnificent results. So you gotta find ways to you gotta trick yourself until it's your reality. You got, like, right now you're not where you want to be, but the only way you're gonna get there is by telling yourself
I'm gonna
that
get there.
I'm that person who will get there. Don't say you're not complete yet, but also don't say you're complete. It's a very fine line. Don't get me wrong
it's a
here. Don't get
balance.
it twisted. It's not easy again, but is it worth it? Absolutely. Is it worth it?
No, it's
Absolutely.
definitely. And I would say with holding yourself accountable and having confidence, at the end of the day, before anything else happens, you have to believe in yourself. You
Yeah.
have to have some faith in yourself, or faith of religiously, if you want to take it that way. But you have to have some type of faith, because if you don't believe that it can happen, you don't believe that it can be true, it would never come to fruition, ever. The people that made societies, the people that went to the moon, the people that, I guess, made math equations or made this computer right here, had to believe that they possibly could do that. And of course, sometimes you will fail, but you have to believe, regardless of whatever happens in your life, you're gonna make it come true.
Yeah, don't have that blind faith where it's like, I'm gonna just do whatever and shit is gonna go my way.
No, it doesn't happen that way. You
Don't
have to
be
have a
that
plan.
person who tells your friend that karma's a bitch, and then you go do some bad shit, some unnecessary or unethical or like nasty, disrespectful, whatever negative type of behavior that you display, and then expect things to come back all fine and dandy.
No.
Don't lie to yourself. Have faith that what you putting out is what you're gonna get back. You putting out hard work, you're gonna get hard results.
Exactly.
You putting out nothing, you're gonna get back nothing.
Yeah.
So have faith in what you're doing to return to you a little bit better than. So you put out some hard work, you're gonna get great results. You put out some blood, sweat, and tears, you're gonna get rewarded for those blood, sweat, and tears. Don't be the person who's stealing and then don't expect nobody to steal from you. And I mean that in all types of ways. When I say steal, I'm not talking about just
physically.
You talk about stealing energy, stealing time, stealing people's playing with people's hearts, doing all those types of foul things and expecting shit to just go your way. It doesn't work like that. Don't be that person who reminds the next person like, oh, yo, you know that it ain't good to do this, but you're doing the same shit. Have faith in the things that you're doing to come back and treat you exactly the way you should be treated. You're treating yourself like a dumpster, the world gonna treat you like a dumpster. You're treating yourself like a gem, hopefully the world returns a gem to you.
Exactly. And to end the show and everything like that, I will also say this: stand on whatever you say, right? You are held accountable to the world by your words at some point, right? Because any word that you say, if somebody truly believes in you, will hold you to that.
Yes,
right?
sir.
So put actions behind your words. And sometimes, always when you do that, right? sometimes you won't even have anything to say until you know that you can complete it. So
Absolutely. So have faith in yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be arrogantly confident, but be confident. Hold yourself accountable. Don't be blind to the type of things that you're putting out. And then when shit come back to you, you're blindsided.
yes. And this has been the Just in a No podcast, where we make knowledge your strongest weapon. I need you guys, if you found anything helpful, to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. And be great, people. Have a good one.
Peace.
None of you even met until tonight.